Tuesday, let's talk about Raw, shall we? So, we were in San Antonio last night for Raw, and I want to discuss what happened on the show. Now, I'm sure you're probably used to me saying this was a very lopsided edition of Raw, and you know what? It was. It was a very lopsided edition of Raw. So, I'm going to talk about the show itself, tell you what I liked, what I didn't like, and what I'd like to see improved. Now, there were a lot of things that I said on the Hell in the Cell recap, that was yesterday's video, that did come to pass. And there were a lot of things that did not. So, let's just start talking about the show. And, the show started out with Triple H, Stephanie, and Kane in the ring. Interesting three. So Triple H pretty much glosses over the fact that Randy Orton couldn't get the job done against John Cena, but he put Seth Rollins over by basically calling him the standard bearer of the WWE. He's not the future of the WWE anymore, he's now the standard bearer of sports entertainment. That's what I'm going to start calling him, because I think that's just as lame as something the WWE could come up with. So, Rollins comes out, of course, with his streamlined security, which are Jamie Noble and Joey Mercury, because obviously you know those Ring of Honor champions have to stick together, and Mercury. So, Seth says, finally Dean Ambrose is out of my hair, and once and for all, I've gotten rid of him. Now I can move on to bigger and better things. See, last night I proved that intellect conquers mayhem. And now on the horizon, I see the man who soundly defeated Randy Orton last night. Obviously, putting those little tidbits in to talking about those little kick in the dirt on Randy Orton while he's down. Of course, building to the Rollins-Orton feud we're going to get real soon. Which pretty much started the ball rolling tonight, actually. But I'll talk about that in a minute. Rollins is moving on to John Cena. And he says, later tonight, I'm going to be able to see John Cena. And he does this, of course. Just like you'll see Cena when he gets left lying in a puddle of his own failure, just like Dean Ambrose did at the pay-per-view last night. It's funny he says a puddle of his own failure, because he kind of struggled with that line a little bit. Obviously, the normalcy would be puddle of his own blood. No blood was spilled at Hell in a Cell. Nope, so he said a puddle of his own failure. Didn't really work as well. Maybe they get it trending on Twitter, who knows. Maybe it already was. I wasn't paying attention. So Randy Orton comes out, and he's not walking, he's pretty much stalking to the ring, and he's doing it at a rather quick pace. He gets in the ring, and he says, sorry to break up your love fest, but you think you're the future? Well, why do I keep hearing that I lost? Maybe I lost because you curb stomped me. The Authority didn't deal with you, so that means I'm gonna have to. So Orton sucker punches Seth Rollins. So they hold him back, and they hold Rollins back. Triple H basically becomes the mediator here and says, we're not doing this here, and we're not doing this tonight. You need to calm down. And Orton gets the line of the night, says, I'll calm down when he's dead. Triple H's like, relax, relax. Take the night off. Calm yourself down. This is not the night. So he shoves Hunter aside, hits the RKO on Seth Rollins, leaves him laying, and bombs out. Noble and Mercury help the groggy Rollins up. Triple H's music hits, and that's the end of the segment. Okay, I like crazy-ass Randy Orton. I think it's going to be a really fun babyface run for him. Maybe not even necessarily making him a babyface. Maybe using the Stone Cold way of dealing with him. Maybe making him like the greatest tweener of all time, even though I'm not a big fan of that term, and I never have been. But it's still a buzzword you can use, especially here on the internet. So I like this a lot. It's building and building and building that we're getting Seth Rollins and Randy Orton at Survivor Series, one form or another. And this would be proven later on in the evening, but I'll talk about that. I'm getting ahead of myself. So, obviously what happens when two guys kind of have a disagreement and they can't get along? Why not force them to go against the WWE Tag Team Champions? It's a proven goal that happens every time. Bitter friends, bitter enemies, people that can't work together, why don't you put them up against the Tag Team Champions? Happens all the time, it's been happening for years, and it happens again tonight. This time, it's the Big Show and Mark Henry taking on Goldust and Stardust, with the titles on the line. No Rusev tonight. Interesting. If we don't see Rusev on SmackDown, maybe they'll save him for Raw, I don't know. Maybe they're hitting the reset button with Rusev, and they are doing something with him and Sheamus on SmackDown during the Halloween edition on this Friday night. That's what I think will probably happen. I think they'll save that for SmackDown when Sheamus asks for another person to face, and Rusev comes down, because it makes perfect sense for a Russian to be the United States champion, just like it makes perfect sense for someone who switched to be the United States champion, but they didn't go that direction. We'll talk about Cesaro in a little bit, actually. I have a lot of things I want to get off my chest about that, to be totally honest. So, we pick it up midway through, and I actually get a little bit before midway through. Whip in, chest first by Mark Henry, goes Stardust. Stardust tries to make a tag, but Mark Henry actually catches him by the foot, and it's kind of funny to watch him squirm. He leaps in the air, and he basically just catches him by one foot, so it was an interesting visual. So the Big Show comes in and chops the back of Mark Henry, and that causes him to get the tag. Mark Henry does not take kindly to this, and they start arguing momentarily. Right after the headbutt, of course. So we come back to live action, and everything has been resolved, at least for the present time, and Goldust has got a chin lock on the Big Show. Gee, shock, surprise, come back commercial break, there's a chin lock. That's how it works, though. So Big Show punches his way out, Goldust starts punching him, and he comes off the ropes, and he gets caught with a flapjack. So Big Show ties up the legs and pulls back on the ankle, the same move he did to Rusev at the pay-per-view last night. Stardust makes a save before Goldust has to tap out. So he tags in Mark Henry. Tagging to Stardust. So clothesline, straight headbutt, goes for the over-the-shoulder power slam. Stardust shimmies down the back and Pillman clip to the knee. Tags in Goldust and the tag team champions Wishbone Mark Henry. So a right hand to Mark Henry while he's in the seated position. It's really nice because Mark Henry's seated and he's kind of groggy. Goldust does the androgynous and feels himself up like he normally does and drops down and bam, just pops him right in the jaw. So starts stomping him. And does a nice little back rake, which I haven't seen in quite a while. Not since my independent days. Tags in Stardust, stomp, and he stomps the leg. Goes for a front face lock. Mark Henry uses his tremendous strength advantage and tosses Stardust off halfway across the ring. Mark Henry charges in, Stardust gets the boot up, and he hits a front missile drop kick, tags in, and that ends up getting the tag into the Big Show. Shoulder block to Star. He knocks Goldust off. Hits the harpoon on Stardust after taking him corner to corner, and WMD on Stardust. Goldust comes in, he gets tossed out. Mark Henry comes in. Picks up the Big Show, World's Strongest Slam. Puts Stardust on top, 1, 2, 3. Mark Henry's officially turned heel. It's about freaking time, too. So after it's over, after the match is all said and done, he hits the World's Strongest Slam twice, and then big splashes the Big Show, leaves him laying in a pool of his own failure. Mark Henry, of course, said he did it to the Big Show before he could do it to him, because you can't trust the Big Show because he's untrustable, and you can't not trust the Big Show because he's not untrustable. We don't know where that's going, but I think the fact remains you can't trust the Big Show because he'll turn his back on you. Mark Henry says that the Big Show is jealous of him and always has been, and he always will be. Of course, this was a segment with Renee Young after we went back from commercial break. So I like this a lot because, number one, this breaks up the Mark Henry Big Show tag team that sucks. I hated that team. I hated that tag team so much. Way too dominant. You had nobody that believably could go after them. The only team you really had was the Wyatt family, and they jobbed them out to them. And the Ascension, which are big enough to go after them, but they're on NXT still. And still to this day on NXT. So we get Roman Reigns live via satellite. Hey, just like his relative. And for once they actually call him the Juggernaut. And of course they omit the word bitch, because when you say I'm the Juggernaut, you have to use that word at the end. Apparently only Jesse Pinkman can say bitch, because that wasn't mentioned. He says it's good to be seen. He feels great. He hates his father and he hates his life, but he feels great. Sorry, I just had a Chris Farley flashback from Wayne's World 2. My apologies. He's getting stronger by the day, and he calls Seth Rollins a weasel, and he says Ambrose is still his boy, and he says when he's cleared, he's gonna make Seth Rollins the past. Believe that. a lot more impact in his wording this time around, and actually made a lot more sense than the last time, when he basically got left out to dry by the announce team. Good job, Michael Cole. Way to be a real journalist. Like you actually were at one point. Anyway. I have not been the biggest proponent of Roman Reigns, and I don't want to see anyone get injured. But for Roman Reigns to have to take time off is actually not a bad thing at this point, because it's actually pushing some other people into the main event picture that I'd rather see, to be totally honest. I don't want to see Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania, and I don't think we will at this point. I think it's a good possibility that Randy Orton could potentially win the Royal Rumble this year, and he could be the one that faces Lesnar, and that's how we get that match. The Battle of the OVW Trainees. So, that could happen. We'll see what happens. Or maybe Roman Reigns is working everybody. He comes back as a mystery partner at Survivor Series. Again, I'm getting ahead of myself. AJ Lee defending the Divas Championship against Alicia Fox. And she's got the Britney Spears look tonight. Just like she did at Hell in a Cell. So, all black gear actually makes her look a lot more attractive. It brings out her eyes, brings out her features, brings out her hair. I mean, it actually makes her entire, visage pop. Of course, Paige is on commentary and constantly reminding us that Alicia Fox is the reason why Paige can get the job done against AJ at Hell in a Cell last night. So, of course, just like it seems like with every Alicia Fox match, I pick it up after she hits the Northern Lights suplex. Because I pretty much think that is the time. It's like, Northern Lights suplex, okay, Owen, time to start writing. So that's pretty much what I do from now on. That's what I do, Mark Henry. I write after Alicia Fox starts hitting the Northern Lights suplex. But of course she gets a 2 off of that. Locks in a chin lock. AJ elbows her way out, ducks the clothesline, and an elbow to AJ for a 2 count. Locks on a chin lock again. Goes for a scoop slam and gets countered into a nice swinging DDT. Kind of a version of the Maivia Hurricane, the old float over DDT, but not completely. Still worked and it made complete sense. She charges in, AJ gets both knees up, and of course she hits her double-footed mule kick to the back and charges in but gets caught with a standing tilt-a-whirl backbreaker by Alicia Fox. And Paige shoves Alicia Fox. This allows AJ to get a flash roll-up 1, 2, 3. So, this is it. Match over. Paige gets in the ring and overly apologizes and apologizes and apologizes. And she offers a nice, snazzy little Hot Topic studded bracelet to Alicia Fox. And she takes it as a peace offering. And, of course, this is just a setup. And she gets straight up kicked in the face. Foxy gets tossed to the floor, sent into the barricade, and Paige with a slingshot sending Alicia Fox back into the barricade, and slams the back of her head hard against the barricade over and over again, takes off her jacket, eliciting a pop from the males in the crowd, and she just basically throws her jacket at her. Jerry Lawler comes out of all people and stops it because it's Jerry Lawler and why not, and helps Alicia Fox up to her feet. Obviously, this is completely forgetting the fact that Alicia Fox is also crazy in the storyline she did for quite a while when she pretty much menaced the entire announce team at one point. So, apparently we're going to have Alicia Fox against Paige, and we don't have a challenger for AJ yet. I have a feeling, as much as I hate to say it, probably the challenger for AJ is probably going to be Nikki Bella, because I'm pretty sure that's what they're building towards. And I think later on in the night we pretty much have that solidified. Whether it's right or wrong, and it's totally wrong, I think that's probably the direction they're going to go. So, it's time for a lot of the IWC to change their channel. Not me, because obviously I'm not a hater, unlike most of you out there. Not all of you. Some of you guys are awesome out there, and you give the guy a chance. But some of you don't really understand how good for business John Cena really is. And I saw a lot of things on Twitter, like, return the channel, and it's like, well, I understand why, because I was a Cena hater for a while until I took a good, long, hard look and realized Cena's a little stale, but there's not really a reason to absolutely hate him. Do we want Cena to go heel? Everyone does. It's ever going to happen? No, it's not. Are we going to see a new edge to John Cena? I think that's going to pacify everyone for the time being. So Cena comes out, and he says, last night I defeated Randy Orton, and I earned the right to face the Beast one more time for the championship. Unlike Brock, and apparently unlike The Rock, because he said the same damn thing when he was talking about the program with The Rock, I'm here busting my ass every single night, and Brock sits at home, and of course he's on Twitter, pictures with his old Minnesota Golden Gophers teammates, and not teammates, but his alumni, and the Gophers mascot. I saw that picture on Twitter. He didn't mention that, but I did. So he's going to use everything from this moment forward to make a point to Brock Lesnar. Everyone is going to be a statement to Brock. And look what happened last time that happened. The Wyatt family got trashed 3-on-1. But I get ahead of myself. Rollins will get a first-class wake-up call tonight. The future has to go through me, and tonight I go through the future. Here comes Stephanie McMahon. And John Cena, of course, gets his line off. We're going to go face-to-face with the man who runs this place. Stephanie comes out. She's going to talk about Survivor Series. The fact there's going to be a traditional Survivor Series match, and apparently we're going back to 5-on-5 instead of 4-on-4, because apparently this is 1988 all over again. You don't have to pander to the people, John. Obviously, this didn't work with Paul Heyman. And the IWC couldn't do it. How does Stephanie and Triple H think they can? Well, we'll see. We'll go into this. Every night you hear them chant, Cena sucks. The point is to talking you into doing what's best for business. And what's best for business is apparently what Stephanie's alluding to, and that is joining the Authority. Why? Does it matter that these fans cheer for you in one arena? No, because these people don't matter. Yay, nice little shout on everyone in that building. That's the reason why Stephanie's such an amazing heel. You leave it out on that ring every single night. Why? Is it for their appreciation? You could join us, John. You could be loved and appreciated for the superstar you truly are. Think about it. You're going to face Brock Lesnar again? Someone that beat you senseless? Why? Because you got cheered while you were getting beaten up. See, we can offer an insurance policy. Yeah, they can offer Jamie Noble and Joey Mercury. We can help guarantee victory. Think about it, John. Maybe tonight's winner could be the captain of the Authority team. You deserve that respect. You deserve to be a part of a family. And Cena says, you know what, the only thing I deserve is to tell people just how much I love them. I'm here for them. You asked me to sell out. And Stephanie cuts him off and says, join us, one of us, and ensure your legacy. These people won't remember you when you're gone. So of course Cena says hell no, because why not? And Triple H comes out, and he says, you know what, I told you, I knew he wasn't going to break, so, you know, John, I gotta let you know, it gets harder and harder every year. You're eking by every single night, hanging by that thread every single occasion. You can't fight the future. It's coming. See, it doesn't have to be that hard, though, John. See, you're a smart guy, and maybe I just have to prove to you that you cannot stop the future. At Survivor Series, we're going to have the Authority team face off against your team, and you're going to have to find 4 others that are going to stand beside you. You cannot fight the future, John. It's going to run right through you. Trust me, the Authority is the future, and they always win. So that's the end of that segment. Building to our first announced traditional Survivor Series match, it's going to be the Authority team against John Cena's team. Now, obviously, if this was fantasy booking, and I put on my fantasy booking hat, this is me putting on my fantasy booking hat, my armchair booker, I would say that your team for Survivor Series, because obviously I'm going to go with a Dean Ambrose-Bray Wyatt singles match, I would say your so-called dream team to fight the Authority would be John Cena, Dolph Ziggler, Randy Orton, CM Punk, and The Rock. That's armchair booking. That's never going to happen. CM Punk and The Rock are not going to be on Cena's team at Survivor Series. It's not going to happen. Just not going to happen. It's like that horrid rolling stock I hate so much. It's not going to happen. So, yeah. I'm sure you've seen it in your local movie theaters. You know, it's not going to happen. The guy that really wishes he was Dave Franco. Anyway, I don't know, I got on a tangent there. I just kind of did. So, yeah. Obviously, your Authority team, I would say, would be Kane. Because, I guess. Seth Rollins, because, of course. I would say Noble and Mercury, and I think there'll be one more deflection to the Authority side before Survivor Series. I mean a big one. I would like to see this last person be someone like a Cesaro, because that would rejuvenate his career, because he's pretty far down right now. but I don't know if that's going to be the case or not. If Bray Wyatt is interjected in this match and they don't do the singles match until TLC in December, I think that obviously Ambrose would be a part of the team. Maybe a surprise return out of the blue of Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan to round out Team Cena. Or maybe they'll go with someone obvious like the Usos, who he's already worked with in the past, so that makes perfect sense. And the fact remains that anybody that Cena teams up with at Survivor Series is probably someone that's been beaten by John Cena at least once or twice, if not a lot more than that in some cases. But we'll see where we go with this. Speaking of the Usos, they're in tag team action against The Miz and Damien Mizdow. So we pick up midway through, stereo suicide dives, the Samoan suicide dives to Miz and Sandow. We come back to live action, and The Miz sends the Uso into the ring apron, tosses him in, hits the seated boot to the face, and locks in a chin lock. Uso punches his way out, and he goes for a charge. It gets caught, tossed off, boot to the knee, grounded DDT, 1-2, and a kick out. Tags in Mizdow, to a nice pop from the crowd, by the way. Boot in, snap suplex, 1-2, and a kick out off the float over pin. So he locks in a chin lock. Uso elbows out, boot to the knee, and Sandow yells, "Take two," and hits the DDT. His version gets a 2 off of that. I thought that was brilliant, by the way. Drags him in the corner, tags in The Miz. Face rake, which is basically what I could call it here. Tags Sandow back in, boots in the corner, a foot choke, and The Miz, behind the referee's back, chokes the Uso. Makes a cover, does Sandow 1-2 and a kick out. Whip in, charges into a boot, it gets caught, right hand, middle rope missile drop kick, and Jay tags in Jimmy. Tags in The Miz. Clothesline, super kick to the ribs, wind up, and I do mean wind up right hand, ducks the clothesline, catches the Samoan drop, and goes for the Rikishi special, but it gets stopped. He heads up top, he hits the flying body press, 1-2 and a kick out. Super kick countered, skull crushing finale, and that gets countered. O'Connor roll to Sandow with the boot, makes the save. Uso switch, twin magic, I guess. Jay's in the ring and catches Miz with an inside cradle and gets the 3 count. So, I think it was the Miz to get the count. Yeah, that's what, Miz to get the 3 count. So, we continue this, and there was nothing to do with anything, so they just put Miz and Sandow against the Usos. Okay, maybe they don't have a direction for them yet. I still think the stuff with Dolph Ziggler would actually work, but it sounds like Dolph's going towards the main event, just like I predicted on the Hell in a Cell video last night. So, speaking of that, John Cena's talking to Dolph Ziggler in the back, and obviously, Kane sees this. When we come back to commercial break, Kane is lambasting Dolph, saying, you know what? There's word around you were talking to John Cena. Word is, basically, he just saw it on the Tron. I can't wait to see... Oh, I'm reading Hogan's line here. Whoops. This is an act of aggression against the authority. And I'd like to end that superstar. So basically, he says he wants to take on Dolph Ziggler. So we get Dolph Ziggler and Kane tonight. I'm not looking forward to this, and I shouldn't be. Hulk Hogan comes out. He's happy that John Cena beat Randy Orton. That gets a little bit of a boo from the crowd in San Antonio. No Shawn Michaels tonight. Interesting. Can't wait to see my champion take on the Stinky Beast and win back his championship. Wow, way to be impartial, Hogan. So he puts over Susan G. Komen because this is the end of Breast Cancer Awareness Month and the last Raw before it's over. And obviously there's one more event, one more SmackDown. Well, there's main event tomorrow, but there's one more SmackDown, and then come Raw next Monday, Breast Cancer Awareness will be over, and, well, obviously it's never over, but the official month will be over. It will be in November, and the Road to Survivor Series. And Hogan shouts out one of my friends and one of my managers at work, and doesn't call her Susan G. Komen. He simply thinks about it and calls her Coleman. So yes, Coleman Mania's running wild, brother. It does every single time at every single shift I work with him. Shout out to you, Coleman. I had to, honestly. It made perfect sense. I hope you liked the tweet I sent out. So yeah, Hogan actually was working pretty well in the promo until he called her Coleman instead of Komen. A nice thing the WWE did to get all the breast cancer survivors wearing the matching pink Hulkamania shirts in the ring and posing with Hogan, and that ends the segment. That's all Hogan did, and apparently after this, we probably won't see Hogan for a while because he really has nothing to promote. That's a shame. So Bo Dallas makes an open challenge, and of course there are rumors that someone is returning, and he was actually in the locker room at Hell in a Cell last night. Then again, everyone was, because obviously they had to be there for Raw, supposedly, since everyone, of course, got involved in Raw tonight, but we'll talk about that later. I'm getting ahead of myself. Bo Dallas comes out, and he makes a challenge, and it's accepted by the returning big guy. That's right, Ryback, the babyface Ryback, comes out to the ring back with the old Feed Me More and everything. He still has the Ryback rules on the Titantron, but I have a feeling that'll probably change soon. So this match is super short. He tosses Bo in the corner. Bo charges again. He tosses Bo back in the corner. He charges in. Bo makes him eat the boot. He comes off the ropes, and he catches Bo with a gorilla press, tosses him high up in the air. When he lands, he of course eats the spine buster, meat hook clothesline, shell shock stomping around, and ends the match. So Ryback is probably a good candidate for Team Cena as well, honestly, because, like I said, anyone that Cena teams with is probably someone he's beaten before. Ryback certainly fits that mantra. So, excuse me, we get our next match. It is supposed to be Dean Ambrose taking on Cesaro, and match never gets started. Ambrose comes out with a microphone and says, "I went straight to hell and I loved every second. I found Bray Wyatt when I got there. I don't care why he did what he did. You don't screw with Dean Ambrose." So he starts popping Cesaro with the microphone, and he just beats him unmercifully up the ramp and just starts beating him down. And they fight all the way out of the ring. There's no match at all, and all he does is just leave Cesaro laying. He says, "Where is Bray? I'm right here. I don't need a magic trick," playing up the Joker mantra from last week. "Come out here so I can kick your ass. Every time I look at you, I see my own reflection," Bray says when he finally responds on the Tron. "We're victims of a system. Things that torture others excite us. The world isn't made for us. I'm not your brother or your friend. I know you because I am you. I'm gonna dismantle your mind. Run, Dean, run." It's awesome Wyatt promo. A little lackluster compared to what we thought we were going to get. Okay, here's where I'm going to get on my soapbox here. This is me climbing up on my soapbox. The destruction of the career of Cesaro. Alright, now, obviously Cesaro was the standout in the Real Americans. When they split, it made perfect sense. Cesaro would go babyface, and, like I said, the Colossal Connection thing, he would swing Zeb, and he'd swing Swagger, and have a short feud with Swagger, and then get pushed towards the main event picture. Did not happen. Night after WrestleMania, after winning the Andre the Giant Battle Royal the night before, what happens? He turns heel, joins Paul Heyman. That doesn't work out for him, and he gets pretty much left by Heyman. He becomes by himself, and he gets a bunch of title shots, a bunch of amazing matches, like the match with Sheamus at Night of Champions, one of the only matches on that show I actually liked. And the only match that really would get me to understand why I sat in a hotel room at Cabana Bay and enjoyed that on my laptop instead of like doing other things in the parks or anything. Parks were closed, that's beside the point. I could have been at City Walk or something. But the thing about it was, Cesaro's been on a downward spiral. He gets a lot of wins, but then he gets a buttload of losses to stack up. Like, here's his wins, here's his losses at this point. So he loses 2 falls straight to Dolph last night. Okay. He comes out tonight and he just gets destroyed by Ambrose. I understand Ambrose didn't want to wrestle, he wanted to fight. Why couldn't they send out anyone else? I mean, and come on, I know who was in the back because we saw the final segment, so everyone was back there. You could have sent anyone out there. It's like, hey, maybe Heath Slater wants some TV time. How about he comes out on television? He gets beat up. That'd be fine. Why Cesaro? Now, I know it's probably just internet thinking, but, you know, there might be some credibility to the thing with the comments made about Cena and Orton that Cesaro made, and now he's jobbing 2 nights in a row. I know that's probably not the case. There's probably a reason for it, and hopefully it's the reason that he's going to end up joining the Authority, and I think that probably does happen. I hope it does happen, and I hope it's actually good for him this time, but, because I don't see Hunter in the match. I see Hunter getting involved in the match, but I don't see him actually being forced to put the tights on or do the match. But yeah, this match was just, oh god. I hate what they're doing with Cesaro right now. I absolutely just abhor what they're doing with Cesaro right now. And I'm telling you, it's just getting ridiculous. Totally ridiculous. I'm a Cesaro fan. And I'm going to be a Cesaro fan, and I've been a Cesaro fan since the independence. I followed the Kings of Wrestling, and I was super excited when I heard that he signed his original developmental deal with WWE, and then he had visa issues that didn't really work out. But eventually he got signed back, and that's when Chris Hero got signed. And the Kings of Wrestling were in WWE, and it was going to be awesome, but Chris Hero, of course, had an issue, and he couldn't measure up to the WWE talent in corporate eyes. So they released him, and Cesaro got pushed out with Jack Swagger of all people. But the team worked because they had great charisma and great, they actually worked well because they had good chemistry, to be totally honest. And now you're doing this. I mean, I just don't get it. I don't get it at all. Hopefully this leads to something for Cesaro because he deserves a hell of a lot better than what he's getting right now. It's absolutely ridiculous what they're doing to Cesaro because this could have been anyone they sent out there and got squashed by Ambrose, but they did it to Cesaro. Maybe it's just the fact that you just beat him up so many times. Eventually he's just going to snap and he's going to go on a win streak. That could happen, but I don't know. I don't think WWE even knows what they're doing with him anymore. This was lackluster compared to what it could have been. This was basically promised that Bray Wyatt would give us an explanation just why he did what he did, but nothing was really solved. Basically just more cryptic mind games. Because he said, in his own words, he's going to dismantle Ambrose's mind. That is a brilliant line right there. And I'll tell you right now, the promos alone are going to make this feud incredible. I'm really excited what they're doing with this, and I think that it's going to be a really good feud to get us into 2015. I don't think this ends after one pay-per-view. I don't think it's a one-off shot. I do think this probably gets us into probably the Royal Rumble at this point. I think they actually could face off at the Rumble. And it would follow up the awesome, and I do mean awesome, match of the year contender that Bray Wyatt had with Daniel Bryan at the Royal Rumble this year. So, hopefully they'll do something with it. I like the fact they're letting Bray be cryptic, but they're also letting him be destructive. I think that he is going to be bringing the dark side back. Obviously, I know someone out there who's a podcaster that would not like what I'm saying, but sorry, Will, I think that he's going to be this generation's version of an Undertaker. Not the Undertaker, but an Undertaker-like character. Not necessarily the Phenom, but a Phenom. It's like Bill Murray said in Groundhog Day. He needs to be a god, not the god. Well, at least I don't think. So, that's what I'm thinking we're going to get here. And I think that Bray Wyatt's going to continue to bring the occult to WWE, and I think he's going to bring the supernatural to the WWE, something that's been lacking for quite a while. Some may think it's a little cartoony, but honestly, I think it's going to be awesome in the long run because these matches are going to be brutal. I think that with this match, honestly, I would love to see this be not first, but the first real barbed wire match that WWE has done. Obviously, in the PG era, we can't do this. I wanted to see Ambrose and Rollins' first blood and have them really get into it. Obviously, we know Ambrose's indie pass, so we know what he's done. And we know what Seth Rollins is capable of, too. So that could have been really brutal and really awesome, but they're not going to go that direction. But I think this is actually going to be a really awesome feud, and it's something I definitely approve of. So, Nikki's in action next against Naomi, and oh, how the mighty have fallen. Nikki's of course, has her sister Brie in her corner, and she basically has to hold the ropes for her, and just made to look like she's meaningless. We pick it up shortly in. This match was a lot longer than you would expect it to be. Charging clothesline in the corner, hits a snapmare on Naomi, chinlock, and she has a chinlock with Naomi's arm under. Not really a modified Cobra Clutch, but kind of, but not exactly. Hair pull takedown, and Naomi finally catches her with a drop kick. Ducks the clothesline, Naomi hits the somersault clothesline. Nails her split-legged, sit-out, full Nelson bomb, and kick to the spine, and rides the shoulders down with the knees, 1-2, and a kick out. So Nikki goes to the floor to break up momentum. She's on the apron, Naomi hits the high kick, and Brie just kind of half-heartedly grabs the foot of Naomi because she's told to. Naomi turns around and is like, Brie, why'd you do that? And of course this allows for Naomi to get forearmed off the ring apron and tossed back into the ring. The rack attack connects, 1, 2, 3. She calls Brie in the ring, forces Brie to raise her hand. This is not going to be a fun month, folks. I really hope this is over before this year's over because I'm tired of this already. I don't want to see this at all. Speaking of things I don't want to see, Dolph Ziggler in action against Kane. It is They gave it a lot more than I thought they would, because they actually gave us a commercial break in the middle of the match, which I'm shocked they did. But obviously we're building toward the fact that Dolph Ziggler was just talking to John Cena. They could have been talking about, I don't know, Cena's mother's cookies recipes or something like that. Or maybe they could have been talking about which Cleveland sports team is better, or the fact that, hey, those John Cena prototype promos are pretty freaking cool. But no. That's not necessarily what happened. Kane jumps to conclusions because he has a map for it like that, just like an Office Space. And basically, he comes to the conclusion that he needs to take out Dolph Ziggler because he might be talking to John Cena. We don't know about what. Kane obviously thinks it's about joining Team Cena, which it probably is, but Kane has no way of knowing, because obviously there was nothing back there, there was nothing might, he didn't know what was going on. So we get this wonderful match that I didn't want to see. Kane with a chinlock. Dolph punches out. Comes off the ropes, Kane hits it with a knee lift. Kitchen sink, if you're playing video games. Right in the breadbasket. 1 count only. Goes back to the chinlock. Dolph counters with the jawbreaker. So Dolph low bridges Kane, he goes over the top rope to the floor. Kane gets up on the ring apron, Dolph drop kicks him off. We come back to live action. Yeah, we actually had a commercial break, it blew my mind. Kane goes for a backdrop suplex, Dolph floats over and boots Kane in the knee. Goes for the name dropper, Kane counters into a powerbomb, Dolph counters into the Z Factor, and charges into the corner with the punches. And he leaps up in the air going for the charging splash, and Kane just pops him with a right hand right to the jaw. Just drops him. 1-2, Dolph kicks out. Boot in, headbutt, boots and punches in the corners, boots and punch, and boots and punch, and boots and punch, just like the commercial with the boots and pants. Snapmare and seated dropkick connects from Kane, 1-2, and a kick out. Once again, I have to mention the fact, I have to get on my tangent here, I hate Kane's gear. If you're going to be corporate Kane, don't look like the deadbeat dad or the backyarding accountant or anything like that. I mean, come on, I'm really sick of this. Can we come up with different gear for this Kane gimmick, please? At this point, since the fact that See No Evil just came out, why don't they just have him develop amnesia and think he's Jacob Goodnight? I think that would work better than Kane. At this point, a lot scarier than Kane. I mean, they're both not scary, but I mean, a lot scarier than Kane is. So, anyway, sorry, I just kind of get on a tangent sometime. So, he locks on a chin lock, but it's underneath the arm. It's kind of like a modified Kata Hajime, but not completely. Dolph punches his way out. So, a knee stops momentum. Kane whips him in, charging clothesline, whip in, charges in, he eats an upper back elbow. Excuse me. Drop kick to the knee, sends the charging Kane face and shoulder first into the middle turnbuckle. Charging splash, 10 punch, reverse neck breaker, heart stopper elbow, 1-2 and a kick out. I could do this in my sleep. Comes off the ropes, and he goes for the name dropper, and he swats it away, and he catches him with a sidewalk slam, 1-2 and a kick out. Goes up top, flying clothesline. Instead of the Pillman counter, which normally Dolph would do, he ends up just ducking out of the way. Kane misses, and when he tries to get up to his feet, he gets caught with a name dropper, 1-2 and a kick out. Goes for the super kick. Kane swats him off, goes for the choke slam, countered in the exclamation point DDT, but he gets tossed off, and super kick. So he's kind of rocked a bit. Dolph, of course, goes for the zigzag, and just like always, he gets swatted off. Kane plants him with a big boot, 1-2 and a kick out. Goozle, going for the choke slam, gets countered, float over, sunset flip, 1-2-3. Dolph Ziggler wins. Finish was okay, came out of nowhere. I'm saying that a lot. It's like the buzz term right now in WWE. It's out of nowhere. And not out of nowhere. It's literally 2 words. Out of nowhere. So yeah, I'm very grammatically incorrect. But yeah, this match was blah. Shoot blah. Match over, Seth Rollins nails Dolph from behind. Because obviously Dolph has somewhat of an allegiance to John Cena. Or so the Authority thinks. So he tosses him into the ring. Kane makes him eat a clothesline. Rollins stomps Dolph. And Kane picks up Dolph. Cena's music hits, he runs out, boots and punch and boots and punch and boots and punch, clotheslines Kane over the top. This allows Rollins to powder, and Cena helps Dolph up, gives him the IC Championship, and that's how we go to commercial. We're told 20 minutes before the top of the hour that we're going to our main event. Okay. It's totally out of nowhere there. So, where are we going to go? Well, you're about to find out. Main event time, John Cena and Seth Rollins. Rollins comes back out with his security detail of Jamie Noble and Joey Mercury. Because like I said, former Ring of Honor champions have to stick together, and Joey Mercury. So, John Hennigan absolutely loves his career now. I'm sure he's a lot happier than he was in WWE. I actually guarantee it. Hopefully he'll join up with Jarrett or Dixie Carter soon. Anyway, so we pick it up after the commercial break, because this was going to take a while, and I was like, you know what, I'm just going to wait till the first commercial break, and I'll just start from there. I'm glad I did, because I have this much writing. This is insane. So Cena tosses Jamie Noble aside, and of course Noble was just ticked off that he got a cruiserweight run, and they pretty much made him a road agent, and John Cena went on to greater things. Seth whips Cena into the ring steps. Cena gets back in at 7. Seth stomps away, locks in a chin lock. Cena breaks the grip, because of course he's Superman after all. And a boot by Rollins comes off the ropes, goes for the clothesline. Cena ducks, shoulder block. Goes for the second shoulder block, Rollins ducks out of the way. Cena goes face first into the canvas, rolls all the way out to the floor. So, Rollins nails him. Okay. Rollins goes for a tope, and Cena kind of half catches him and sends him into the announce table. If you recall, this is the same exact thing that Chris Jericho did to Daniel Bryan when he was still Bryan Danielson in the first NXT show where Danielson and Jericho main evented. Same exact spot. Continuity. History. WWE wants you to forget it, Sir Owen Disney never will. Now, anyway, Cena tosses him in at 8, makes a cover, 1-2, and a kick out. So, a right hand, straight right hand drops John Cena. Just like Randy Orton dropped John Cena at Hell in a Cell. Seth climbs up, pulls up Cena for a superplex. Cena punches him off. Cena hits a flying body press on Seth Rollins, which completely defies any logic whatsoever, since Cena's a big guy and Rollins isn't. Hits a flying body press, 1-2, and a kick out. Goes for the AA, gets countered, boot in, drop down DDT, 1-2, and a kick out. Rollins with an axe handle. And then he starts stomping. Uses the ropes, hits a leaping stomp. Comes off the ropes, seated drop kick. Cena knocked out of the ring. Kind of a baseball slide drop kick, basically. Like a front baseball slide drop kick. So Seth sends Cena into the barricade. Tosses him in, goes up top. Hits the knee strike, not off the springboard, but just off the top. And gets a 2 off of that. Goes for the chin lock. Again, Cena breaks the grip. Kicks off the STF attempt. Seth drop kicks Cena out of nowhere. A right hand knocks Cena through the ropes to the floor. Jamie Noble starts booting away Cena on the floor. Wouldn't it be awesome and weird poetic justice if the members of the Team Cena were John Morrison and Nydia? Yeah, maybe 4 of you got that. Anyway, I'm just trying to make a joke there. Trying to make a funny, sorry about that. Anyway, so where are we here? So basically, Noble's booting away, and Cena finally stirs at 8. He gets back in right at 10, so he breaks the 10 count. Rollins gets frustrated, mounts him with the punches, starts pounding away, stomps in, and goes for a clothesline. Cena ducks. Shoulder block, protobomb, 5-knuckle shuffle after doing You Can't See Me to Noble and Mercury on the floor. So he tosses him in, and Rollins catches him with a leaping kick. Kind of an enziguri kick, kind of a ghetto blaster, shout out to the late great Bad News Allen, but still got a 2 off of that. Charges in, Cena gets the boots up, don't see that very often. The charge is basically going to be the forearm in the corner, like the leaping forearm in the corner he normally hits. Cena plants him with a nice tornado DDT with the opposite arm, which kind of bothered me, but it still worked. 1-2 and a kick out. Goes to the AA, gets countered. When Rollins lands on his feet, Ghetto Blaster countered, STF, and Rollins gets to the ropes. So of course, just like you don't powerbomb Billy Kidman, you don't put Seth Rollins in the ropes, especially trying to bring him back in the hard way, because when you bring him back in the hard way, what happens is he does a flip, lands on his feet, and he catches Cena with the Skywalker. 1-2 and a kick out, which is the standing slice bread number 2, or the Misty Flip, or depending on what you want to call it. Rollins called it the Skywalker, so I will too. So, before this, he's now in control. So Rollins goes up top, Cena with 2 right hands, 3 in succession, climbs up, going for a superplex, gets countered into a sunset bomb, which gets turned into a turnbuckle power bomb. Rollins goes for the pin, 1-2, and kicks out at 3. He comes off the ropes, goes for the curb stomp, gets stopped, gets leg picked, and goes back to the STF. And instead of trying to tap out, he's calling for help. Kane comes in because, obviously, he has to interfere. He nails Cena for the DQ. Ziggler runs out to even the odds and starts brawling with Kane. Noble nails Cena, and then the entire locker room just erupts. And they start beating everyone up in the ring. And it's like we're doing the go-home show to the Royal Rumble and not the show after Hell in a Cell. So this allows for Rollins to bomb out. Triple H and Stephanie, along with Noble, Mercury, Rollins, and Kane are all standing on top of the ramp watching. Cena AA's Heath Slater, because he does, and then he hits Bo Dallas, and then everyone brawls up the ramps, and say along with me, folks, John Cena stands tall as we go home. So basically, they're all fighting because they want to be a part of the Survivor Series match. Do they want to see their career, fizzle by joining John Cena? Or do they want to see their career soar by joining with The Authority? It's anyone's guess what they're going to do here. I like this. I like this chaos. And John Cena and Seth Rollins have amazing chemistry in the ring. My God, that match was awesome. Totally one of the best matches I've seen in a bit. I mean, obviously it's not like a match of the year candidate or anything, but it was really good. It was a good Raw match. I really enjoyed it. A match that I definitely want to see on pay-per-view given about 20 minutes. And no gaga or anything. 20 minutes, Rollins and Cena. I definitely want to see this. I'm totally down with it. So, I liked a lot of what I saw. I will say that the opening promo was fine. I had no issues with that. Randy Orton hit the RKO out of nowhere. That was the last you saw of Randy Orton. He just bombed out after that. I thought that Randy Orton could have came out and made the save for Cena. That would have been interesting, but I don't think they're really ready for that yet. I don't think that happens for quite a while. I think it does happen, but I don't think that it happens yet. I think it's too soon for Randy Orton to make the save for John Cena and completely turn on the Authority. But then again, with Orton absent this time around, and Triple H trying to play peacemaker with Orton and Rollins, I think that there's probably going to be some sort of a something happening to Randy Orton on either SmackDown or Raw this week. Raw next week, in this case. Mark Henry turning heel on the Big Show. Finally, it's about freaking time. Tag team titles, kind of an afterthought here. No Ascension on the show tonight. Not completely surprised, but somewhat, since they really need new tag teams right now. It seems like they're going to put Mizdow and Miz together, at least for the time being, since they don't really have anything to do with them right now. Since they go after the Usos, and everyone that's thrown together tag team goes after the Usos. Just ask Slater Gator. But, yeah, Big Show and Mark Henry are going to feud now. I don't have a problem with that. It's fine. Gets them away from everything. No Rusev tonight. That's interesting. Rather interesting. Alicia Fox and Paige are going to feud. That's fine. Who's going to be the challenger for AJ? I think Foxy and Paige end up facing off, and the winner faces AJ at Survivor Series. Or, obviously, they're all going to be part of the ginormous Survivor Series traditional match with Brie versus Nikki. And like I said, when Brie's about to win, Nikki tells her to lay down so Nikki can pin her, and that leads to probably the Mabry lock, and then we build towards potentially the final battle between the two Bellas, and I hope that does happen, because I want to get this over with. I like what Cena did tonight. I thought that worked really well. Stephanie interrupting him, trying to turn him heel. Didn't work for Paul Heyman, so why would it work for Triple H and Stephanie? Just didn't. Cena likes to do things the hard way, so obviously he wants to fight the Authority himself. He needs to find people that will help him do so. Dolph Ziggler is definitely one of them, and it looks to me like the Usos will probably end up being two of them, and who knows. Like I said, maybe Randy Orton's one of them. Maybe it's a return of Roman Reigns or Daniel Bryan or both. Maybe it's Ryback who returned by squashing Bo Dallas like a grape. And Usos against Mizdow and Miz, it was alright. I mean, Uso matches are getting Uso tired. So, I like the Usos, but my God, I'm just starting to get really sick of them. I really hope that they do something and freshen up their gimmick right now. Cesaro and Ambrose never got started. I don't want to talk about this. I talked about it earlier. Not happy with this. But it made perfect sense for the character, for Ambrose to just decide to punch someone instead of actually wrestle them. So, yeah, there was no match there. Bray Wyatt came out. Kind of lackluster promo, but it made kind of somewhat sense. Naomi got squashed by Nikki. Brie was forced to try to interfere, and it kind of fizzled a bit. And I liked the main event a lot. Dolph and Kane. The finish was okay, but the match was kind of just there. Rollins and Cena was amazing. Totally liked that match, and I definitely want to see a lot more Cena and Rollins facing off against each other, and I think we will very soon, because Rollins is the future of WWE, regardless if it's storyline or if it's fact. It's absolute fact. Sorry, Tyson Kidd, this is absolute fact. But still, thank you for the birthday wishes every year. Now, I do want to say that, and that was Raw this week. Kind of lopsided, but like I said, we're obviously on the road to Survivor Series now, since we just got over one pay-per-view. We've got to go to the next one. So yeah, we're on the road to Survivor Series, and we're going to be interesting to see where we go from here. Who's going to join up with John Cena? Who's the Authority going to get to come into the fold that's brand new? I think we get at least one new member of the Authority out of this, and I do think it's Cesaro at this point. I think him losing a lot is probably going to give him the catalyst to become a killer again, and I think he's going to become a killer underneath Triple H's wing, and I think that's exactly what needs to happen. He beat Randy Orton before. There is a proven spot right there, and since Orton would now be out of the Authority, Cesaro could easily take his place, and I think that would work really well, and I think that's the direction they need to go. That was Raw for this week, and hopefully you guys enjoyed Raw, and hopefully you enjoyed Hell in a Cell, and hopefully you enjoyed this video. And if you did so, then go to Facebook, click like on our Facebook fan page, or send me a friend request on Facebook and tell me you like what I'm doing, you like the channel, you like the Popcasters, AJ and Ashley, and when Ben and Will are around, you like them as well. You like all the new segments on Pop we're getting now, and you like all the different content you get every single day here on Pop. If you'd like to tweet me, it's at SirOwenDisney, and if you'd like to send a message to me, a nice little email, we can talk wrestling or Disney or Universal or Halloween Horror Nights. We can talk about Pop itself. We can ask questions I can't answer on here. I'll give you an answer via email or Twitter or Facebook, one of those ways. Or if you have segment ideas or versus ideas or sip and snack ideas, or if you'd like to contribute to any of those segments, then be my guest and send me an email, SirOwenDisney@gmail.com. So tomorrow we're going to have our vlog of randomness, which is going to be not exactly so random, because we're going to talk about theme park annual pass perks and the pros and cons of those. And then, of course, Sip and Snack looks like it's going to be featuring Mountain Dew Kickstart. What's better, the AM or the PM? I'm going to tell you, and probably a couple more things. So that's coming soon. Friday we'll return to AJ's movie reviews on the official Halloween. And of course, there are still Halloween Horror Nights videos from both coasts still to come. I promise you that. So, in the meantime, thank you guys and girls out there for watching. So until tomorrow, wow, I screwed up my own outro here. So until tomorrow, boys and girls, that's all I got to say about that.